last F12 pair, solves OLL minus this F12 pair, zeroing. Boom. And this is basically zeroing, solving a last layer while you solve your F12 case. Hey guys, it's me CriticalCubing, and today we will be taking a look at Feliks's 4.75 zeroing solve and take a closer look at what Feliks did in this solve and what is the secret behind zeroing. So this was the scramble that Feliks got, and in the scramble Feliks solved the green cross, and the green cross, the cross pieces are here, 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 and here. The green and red is already connected with the green center in here. The green and yellow is in this position and needs to be flipped so as to connect the greens with the green center. The green and white piece is in here besides the green and yellow piece, and the green and orange edge is at the far left side of the cube in here. So for solving the cross, we already have one of the edge pieces in here, and you can insert the white to the D layer by doing an R prime move. And before you insert the white to the D layer, you want to do a U2 move so that this orange piece moves from this position to this position, and then with the R prime it comes from this position to this position, and you can insert the orange with an F move. Doing so, you have three pieces of the cross solved, and this yellow piece will move from this position to this position at the back, connecting with the yellow center, and then you can insert the yellow piece finally with an R prime and your cross will be done. Simple cross is not the only thing that we have in the scramble. We also have this corner attached to the yellow center, which gives us an opportunity for X cross. But the edge for this corner, the yellow and red corner, is back in here, yellow and red edge. And the position of this edge is quite awkward, and going for the X cross will take too many moves, so Feliks did not opt for that. Instead of using this corner and this edge as X cross, he used this as his first F12 pair. So let us take a look at our cross solution. So he held the cube like this with the white and green on the R side of the cube, and like I mentioned earlier, U2 puts the orange in here, R prime inserts the white and flips the orange to this position, and the yellow goes to the back, connects with the yellow center. Insert the orange, inserting three pieces for your cross, and here Feliks did a rotation like this, and he started influencing his first F12 pair. The X cross corner is in here, stuck with the yellow edge, and the edge for this corner is back in here. And once you insert the yellow with an R prime, right, the edge will go from this position to this position with the yellow on top, right? And this has the red on top. So if you move this corner from this position to this position at the back, the yellow will come on the top, right? And you will have a 3-move insert at the back in here. And Feliks exactly did the same thing. He fixed his cross with a D prime move, and then he did a U2 move to move this corner from this position and keep it at the back in here, and then he finally did the R prime. His cross is solved, right? And he also has his first F12 pair, which is an easy 3-move setup, R prime U prime R setup. And this F12 pair needs to be inserted in this front slot, and currently we have this F12 pair in the front slot, which we can track. For inserting this F12 pair, Feliks did a rotation like this, and then he did a U2 to keep the F12 in this position, and then insert this F12 pair with R prime U prime R 3-move insert. And while he was solving this pair, his next pair were these two right in here, and inserting with R prime U prime R pairs up this pair in here at the back, and this pair needs to be inserted in this front right slot in here. And for inserting this pair from this position to this position, it's an easy 3-move insert. You do a U2, set up the case in your front, and then you insert with R U prime R prime. Easy 3-move insert. While he inserted that, he saw that this was his next F12 pair, right? And once you insert with R U prime R prime, the F12 comes in this position. This pair can be solved two ways. You can either use L moves for solving it from this angle, like this, break it into a 3-move insert, and then you can insert it like that. However, Feliks here did a rotation, and it was quite a wise move because doing the rotation gives us two empty slots in our front. If you do the rotation at the beginning, you get to use R moves, which may be faster than using L moves. Feliks from here did rotation and then U prime move, set this F12 at the back, and then separated this corner and this edge with R U2 R prime. And now we have this set up as a 3-move insert, and this needs to be inserted in this front left slot. And for inserting this to the front left slot, you get the corner atop the front left slot, and then you insert this with the 3-move insert L prime U prime L. Once he inserted this F12 pair, his final F12 pair were these two in here, and this is where he starts doing zeroing. Before I go into zeroing, I need to show you something. Here what most people will do is solve this F12 pair and then solve OLL and PLL, right? But Feliks here disregarded this last F12 pair and he solved OLL. And there were a couple of reasons for it. Feliks has amazing last layer look ahead capability, and here he saw that if he inserted this edge to this position with RU2R prime, and he could force a OLL skip if instead of solving this F12 case next, he directly went to the OLL and then solved the F12 later. And for getting the OLL skip, Feliks did RU2R prime, which solves the OLL minus this F12 pair in here. With the RU2R prime, this block in here goes to the U layer at the back, and then this block gets moved to this position in the front, so you have a square block in here. This block at the back will be completely preserved, so you have another block in here, and this corner will move to this position, and with the R prime, this blue sticker will be facing towards the top. So you have a complete block in here, a complete line in here, and you will have one edge at the back minus this corner, which will be the F12 corner, which goes to that position. And another thing he saw, apart from the OLL skip, was this F12 case. This F12 case was kind of a lucky case because with the RU2R prime, which partially solves the OLL, this edge will directly move from this position to this position, and this corner, this is a good corner, it is properly placed in the correct position. This corner with the RU2R prime will directly go to the back position. So this case, the corner at the back and the edge in this case is a RUD F12 case which affects the last layer in a certain way, and Feliks knows about it. This is a common F12 case that people may use RUD style when you have the edge in the correct position and the corner is on the U layer, right? And the white is facing towards that side. And generally what people may do here is set it up into a 3-move insert with RUR prime and then insert with RUR prime once more. But when you have the entirety of your OLL solved minus this F12 case, using the RUD F12 algorithm gives you an OLL skip. I can put this F12 corner anywhere in these 3 positions and then do R prime D prime, R U prime R prime, D R. And that will give me an OLL skip while also simultaneously solving this F12 case for me. And the RUD algorithm is actually a commutator which moves 3 corners. This F12 corner which goes in here, this corner which is currently in the F12 position, and this corner at the back. So it does a 3 cycle to these 3 corners in here, and rest of the cube is unaffected. And there are 3 cases that you can get for this case. One is where you have this huge block on the left side of the cube, right? So you have a line in here and a block at the back and a block at the front. And when you get this huge block and this F12 case, right, you can set the corner in here and do the RUD algorithm and you will get a last layer skip. This is the next case where you have this huge block at the back side of the cube now. And for skipping this last layer case, you keep this corner in this back slot, right, in this back position. And then you do R prime D prime, same algorithm, RUR prime, DR. And you will again skip the last layer. The final case that you can get is the A perm case, as I like to call it, because you have a block in here like the A perm, and you have a same block at the back just like the A perm from the back. And in this case, this corner goes to the D layer and then these 2 corners are being switched around. So this is a diagonal case. I also sometimes call it a diagonal case because these 2 corners are moving diagonally. And for solving this last layer case along with the F12 case, you keep this F12 corner in this back slot diagonally from where it needs to go. And then you start with the R prime D prime R, U2, get this corner in here, R prime D R. And you will skip the last layer while you solve the F12 case. Those were the cases with the white on side, right? But Feliks did not get this case. He got the mirror case with the white on front, and I will show you those cases as well. The white on front RUD case works on the same principle, but instead of using the front right slot, it uses the back right slot. So this is the first case where you have a huge block on your front side of the cube, and in this case you keep the corner on your front, and then you do R, D, R prime U prime R, D prime R prime. This is the next case where you have the block on the left side of the cube, right? Huge block on the left side of the cube, and you keep this corner in your back left slot, and then you do R D, R prime U R, D prime R prime, and you will solve the F12 while simultaneously solving the last layer. This is the case that Feliks got, the diagonal case or the A-perm case, and here you have a A-perm block on the front and another A-perm block at the back, and these two corners are being switched while this F12 corner is being inserted to this back position. And for doing that, you keep this corner in this position diagonally away from this corner, and then you do R D R prime U2 R D prime R prime. And this was the case that Feliks got, and I'll show you what Feliks did. So Feliks here saw that he can set up the commutators RUD F12 case by using RU2 R prime for inserting this edge to the correct position, and then this corner will be put at the back, which he can insert later with the RUD F12 algorithm. But the icing on the cake was that once he inserted this edge with RU2 R prime, right, he would get this partial Euler skip, which he can convert into a full Euler skip by using the RUD F12 algorithm, which will guarantee an Euler skip. But Feliks here saw that he had this A-perm pattern case, which means he had the diagonal case, and that means that the corner needs to be in this position and he will need to rotate for using the RUD algorithm. This was the same case, diagonal case that I showed you, and using the RUD algorithm you do R D prime U2 R D prime R prime, and that inserts the F12 for him and also solves the last layer for him, and he's left with AUF U prime for the PLL. Now this solve initially started simple, but this couldn't have been a 4-second solve and without the zeroing and the RUD F12 algorithm usage by Feliks Zemdegs. Feliks Zemdegs is rightly called the god of cubing because he can give us these kind of solves officially. So what can you learn from this solve? Use RUD F12 algorithms in your solves because they are only moving the corners and rest of the edges are being preserved. And while you're on your last slot, the last F12 pair, look at ways to optimize your last layer, the OLL and PLL, as that will help you see further into the solve when you are finishing your F2L, and that will allow you to influence and manipulate your last layer like Feliks did in here. So that's pretty much it for this video. Use RUD algorithms in your solves and practice predicting your last layer cases so that you can influence and manipulate your last layer while you're on your last slot or when you're finishing F12. Thank you to Feliks for showing us such a great solve, and this is basically zeroing, solving a last layer while you solve your F12 case. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care guys, and bye.